Hey everyone, welcome to the Human Cloud Podcast, the spot where leaders come to drive the freelance economy forward. So today we have Gali Arnon. Gali is the Chief Business Officer over at Fiverr. Listen, if you don't know what Fiverr is, you definitely got your head in the sand for the past couple of years, actually since 2010, because Fiverr's been one of the leaders and darlings of the freelance economy. There's only two public companies in our space, Upwork and Fiverr. Fiverr was IPO'd back in 2019. And where Fiverr has really taken the baton and led is in the productization of freelance services. So instead of just saying, hey, let's get 1 million freelancers to sign up, let's have hiring managers post a job and then other freelancers can just bid, right, and jump all over each other, Fiverr said, let's productize and let's automate everything required to create the perfect stage and the perfect match for freelancers and clients to work together. And they've also led when it comes to acquisitions. And so they acquired Stoke Talent, they acquired Anco. They have really taken the baton and put their money where their mouth is in terms of where their freelance economy is going. So the things that I want you to really listen for, and I always record these right after I record so I can tell you kind of the TLDR. The first thing I want you to hear is how they think about talent, because you might think that based off the name, you might think that they're talking about low, I don't want to say skill, but you might think they're talking about low projects. That couldn't be farthest from the truth. They are really talking about talent management and how to use technology to bring the best out of talent, meaning both the client and the freelancer side. The second thing I want you to listen for is where they see the freelance economy going, specifically the push for AI and large enterprises adopting. When it comes to AI, they're talking about how do we accelerate the knowledge gap. So if you're sitting there as the CEO, the CMO, you know that you can't just go train your people to be experts in AI, but there are already millions of experts on AI that are ready for you to hire them ASAP. Second thing, when it comes to the enterprise, they have incredible use cases with Amazon, Monday, Stripe, and you'll hear about some others. So sit down, strap up, and then go drive some change. All right, Gali, thank you so much for hopping on. So listen, I got you for 40 to 50 minutes, depending on how generous you want to be. And my hope is I get you for 50. But so where I really want to get to, and just a heads up, so our listeners, the primary audience is leaders hiring freelancers at scale. So not one freelancer, but usually bulk, so $1 million plus spend a year. And then platform and industry leaders like yourself. And so sort of that's what I really want them to take away is how you see the world. And so the first question I'm going to ask you and your background, when I look at it, I say, yep, she knows how to build software companies. Yep, she knows how to drive product, right? And so you have a wealth of knowledge on that front and looking from the outside. But the first question for you is really just, how'd you get into the space? Why Fiverr? I know you've been there for around 6.5 years, starting as the CMO, now the Chief Business Officer. But so, super broad, like how'd you get into this and why Fiverr?
Right. So first of all, hi, Matt, and thank you for having me. Really excited to be here today. So why Fiverr? If you've been through my profile and you've seen my record, you've seen probably that I've changed industries over the year. This is what I find fascinating, to learn new stories, to learn new domains. But I think, what attracts me the most is to be in companies that actually leave their marks and are making positive impact on the world. I know it sounds cliche and it can be, people can hear it and can be a bit cynical about it. But, I worked in ad tech companies and I worked in gaming companies. Eventually, I want to use my resources, my skills, my brain, my creativity to work in a place where I know that the things that I do are doing something good or are leaving a good mark or creating a good impact on the world. And I think at Fiverr, what we basically do is we connect with freelancers from hundreds of categories, from 160 countries, and allowing them to, to make an income, to do what they like, to focus on what they do best, and to make money out of it. That it can be their primary job, it can be their side hustle. We keep hearing those amazing stories about people from all over the world that now have access to businesses and to kind of demand, I would say, that they would never have if they just would work in their own, local surroundings. So I feel that by doing those connections between businesses and talented freelancers all over the world, we are leaving a very good impact on the world, and we are part of this freelancer revolution or this talent revolution. And this is what keeps me, excited and energized every day I come to work, and I do that for the last 6 years. So it's been a long ride.
So yes, so amen to everything you say there. There's 3 directions we can go. Okay, so the first direction is going to be very, very high level pie in the sky, and that is just going to be, how do you see the world, right? Very generic. The second direction is going to be, let's talk about some of these freelancer wins. What are some of the really cool freelancer stories that you're just so proud of? And then the third direction is going to be, what have you learned in your almost 7 years now at Fiverr and being in so many different industries? And so you pick, super high level, you pick whichever way you want.
Listen, I think the first direction is interesting because I think we can mix the first and the third one, because eventually, in the last 6 years has been so hectic, not only on Fiverr, but globally, with COVID and AI and, global tensions, wars around the world. And I'm not sure I want to talk specifically about what's happening now here in Israel, but it's another one that is creating this instability worldwide. And I think those trends or movements in the freelance economy on one hand, and everything that is happening around the world on the other hand, where we feel this instability around us, and what we've learned about the fundamentals of the connections between freelancers and businesses on Fiverr is really interesting. So maybe something around that. So bigger picture, how we connect it to what we've learned here. Yeah. So should just talk about it.
Yeah, and let me give you let me add a little spice to it, okay? So, my experience, 10 plus years in the freelance economy, right? And so I started as a freelancer, jumped to the early side. I was early at Gigster, then helped Microsoft scale their freelance workforce, build their product around it. And so in looking at this space, what Fiverr has hung their hat on and been first at is the productization aspect of this. And so when I was new to the industry, I looked at this kind of as consulting, but in a way that had a deeper relationship with my client. At Gigster, it was more about what's the tech, right? How do we build $2 million plus builds 100% through freelancers to get things done quicker in a way that never could have happened prior. But then I will say, the industry got so boring in that it became staffing, right? It became staffing, procurement, and very manual. Just, hey, do you want to go find an individual person? But Fiverr from the outside has a different perspective. It seems like it's, hey, let's productize this industry to create the stage to put freelancers and clients in a better way to match. Not just, hey, post a job auction, right? But instead, create a product, right? Create an actual menu. So I want to add that layer, but now over to you.
Yeah. So I think, basically what Fiverr did to this staffing industry or to this talent economy is, just like you said, we productized a process that was full of friction, full of bureaucracy, long, tedious process of finding talent. If you're a business and you need to find a talent, so first, how do you find it? Then how do you negotiate and set expectations? Then how do you close a contract? And what do you do when you get the delivery? And how do you get paid, or how do you pay? If it's net 30, net 60, will you ever get paid? How can you guarantee the payment? I think all those pain points. And the pain points were from the supply side, what we call, freelancers, because they had to do so much around their skill. Because I could be an amazing designer, but then in order to be a successful freelancer, I need to know how to market myself. I need to know how to negotiate. I need to know how to close a contract, and then I need to actually collect the payment. I think freelancers found themselves doing so much bureaucracy around the thing itself, which is their actual skill, which were tasks or things that they really hated to do. So that's one. And on the other hand, those businesses, in order to find the right talent, it could have taken a month or even 2 months to find, someone that will do the job for them. And it was as inefficient and tedious as I, described from the seller side, from the freelancer side for those businesses. I think Fiverr came with this very simple notion that hiring a freelancer can be as easy as buying a pair of shoes on Amazon. And the whole idea of productizing it is so it will be as easy as buying a pair of shoes on Amazon, and add everything we can in order to make it a simple decision, from reviews to ratings to leveling systems and all of those things that can help you make the right decision in a click of a button. I think that was what made it so unique and so groundbreaking, and made Fiverr a pioneer in this freelance economy. Now, you can think about it a bit like, I thought about it, it's a bit like Airbnb, because what hospitality and travel and accommodation was there way, way before Airbnb came in, right? But then they use tech and they use the internet to create a whole new baseline or a whole new way. They reinvented this industry, basically. I think what Fiverr is doing in a way is reinventing how we work with freelancers. Now, obviously, we're not alone, and there are other competitors that walk this way as well. But I think in that sense, Fiverr was a pioneer, and it still is. Obviously, the largest player in this game by far, in terms of scale, in terms of awareness. It's the biggest brand, the most known brand, and about what we discussed earlier, why I'm here, it was also able to remove cultural barriers and international barriers. And I think part of the kind of exciting stories or inspiring stories are those people who would never have access to work like they do. Because think about it, we have our own opinions about people, the way the culture they come from, their gender, their all those opinions that we hold about stereotypes and how we look at people. But then on Fiverr, you don't really care about anything beside their skill, right? So everyone is basically equal. You're being judged by your portfolio on Fiverr, reviews, your experience on the platform, and nobody really care if you work 10 hours a day and you leave the office. You're the last one to leave the office. What type of culture you come from? What is your socio-demographic conditions or anything like that? So I think it was able, or, kind of the side product is that you are able to create a world that is more equal in a sense. And, something I'm really, really proud of, and we pull this data every year in International Women's Day, is that women are actually making more than men per project on Fiverr, because all this gender gap that exists in the real world, where you come for a job and you get a salary that will be lower than a man in in the same job, which we know still exists, will not exist on Fiverr, because women can charge whatever they want, whatever they feel that they deserve, and nobody will consider paying them less because they're women, right? So those are the type of things I'm really proud of, and those are the type of barriers that we were able to remove with technology and reinventing this industry.
I love it. Yeah, the concept of the ultimate meritocracy is what's kept me in it for so long. And I always joke too, I'm like, hey, we can make so much more money if we did go work for the Metas, the Microsofts, right? Like, we could. And I'm sure you and I both, I'm sure our benefits package was much better when we were in tech. But something keeps gravitating us and keeps us going through the tough times. And for me, it's been that ultimate meritocracy. And so some of the stories that, that we had in the book that I love is when we were looking at a lot of the best freelancers, some were women that left to go either raise their family or take care of children that needed their attention. Things like, hey, I need to be on call and those people now, they were VPs, they were generally VPs, and they're still able to do that just in a flexible capacity. So I couldn't agree more with that. Now, I think one of the vantage points that you have that is going to be so fascinating for our listeners is, what have you learned, right? So almost 7 years now, I would argue, when looking at the Uber Airbnb analogy, talent is a different beast, right? So like talent is a lot of subjective variables. And in terms of, right, Uber is just get me to A to B. We are talking about get me to A, and then in between A and B, there's millions of things, right? But so what have you learned over the past 7 years, both about the freelancers, both about the clients, both about the tech? And for you listeners out there, if you don't know, there's only 2 public companies that are in our space, and y'all IPO'd in 2019. So in terms of learnings, you guys have the largest wealth of learnings here. So yeah, what have you learned?
Oh, I've learned so much. I'll start with the first basic comparison. Talent is not a pair of shoes. I did this comparison about the way, we want to simplify it so it will be as easy, but it's not. Why? Because as you mentioned, there's so much subjective elements that come into this relationship. And above all, this is relationship. This is, and I think the one fundamental and very, very basic principle that you need to maintain in order to allow this relationship is trust. So businesses that come to Fiverr need to trust the platform, that they will be matched with the right freelancers. They need to trust the freelancer they work with, and they need to trust the overall ability of the system to be there when things go wrong, right? And for the freelancers, they need to trust Fiverr as well. They need to know that they will get paid on time, that we will match them with enough demand, that we will match them with the right demand, that, for them will make their customer satisfied. The more you create this win-win between the buyer and the seller, or the freelancer and the businesser, the more this flywheel will move faster, right? That's the idea. The matching is the secret sauce, and the matching need to allow this trust to be created through those relationships. So freelancers and businesses are creating relationships. One thing with that I realized over the years is that, businesses tend to go back to the same freelancer again and again and again when they find someone they can trust. Again, basic relationship principle. The second thing is that someone that I trust will not necessarily be someone you will trust for the same task, because we have completely different expectations. And understanding those expectations is a key to success, is a key to making both the freelancer and the business happy, satisfied, fulfilled, and will ensure that they will come back for more. Okay. And that's, again, true for both. Now, how do you keep this balance? You need to constantly find this this balance in order to make sure that you create a win-win situation. I think the more we'll be able, and the more Fiverr is able to, one, better understand what the business is looking for. And I mean, how personalized we can be as personalized as understanding the single business that comes to Fiverr. So the more we'll understand the need of the business, the more we'll understand more about our freelancers and what they can accomplish and what they can deliver, the better the matching will be. Right now, it sounds easy, but it's all based on big data, AI, machine learning, data mining models, and all of that. So it's all very techy, because I'm talking about relationship and trust and satisfaction and fulfillment. But then again, the thing that actually allows it is a very, very strong tech infrastructure that knows how to understand the buyer. I use buyer, but it's the business actually, to understand what the freelancer can deliver, and how we match them to create the best experience. Now, the experience doesn't start and end with the matching, okay? It's the whole experience from the minute the business is joining Fiverr to the minute we'll deliver the outcome or deliver the service and hopefully lead into the next category or of purchase or the next service. So it's a whole journey, and this is how we look at it. And it's same for the freelancers, because we're not looking at Fiverr as just a place where they can get work done or work that they can deliver. We want to be this home for them for anything they want to do as part of this freelancing lifestyle. So from healthcare programs that we offer them through Fiverr or Fiverr Learn, which provides them with digital courses that they can improve their skills, to Fiverr Workspace. It's a company that we bought a few years ago, used to call &Co, which is a tool to manage their invoices, their time management, and all of that. So we are trying to find ways to support their entire kind of lifestyle with us, from the community events to the forum, and different ways and tools for freelancers to feel like it's their actually work, a place that they work in and not just come and go. So yeah, it's a long answer to a short question, but basically, I think I've learned that Fiverr should be more than just a matching platform for both the businesses and the freelancers. We need to be a home for them. They need to feel at home. So that's one. I understood how complex and subjective this experience is, and how when you try to productize it, you have to take it into account. And the tech and the infrastructure that you build needs to support this. I realized how complex it is to be such a wide, extensive catalog like Fiverr is. Because buying a logo is not the same like buying, a project of app development. Consulting with someone over your e-commerce business is not the same as hiring someone to do the voiceover for your video. Designing a book cover is not the same as, and I can go on and on and on. So our marketplace have more than 700 categories, and it's expanded massively over the years, from new verticals that we introduced, like music and audio, and the people actually do amazing music and create music on the platform, to architecture, 3D modeling, rendering, industrial design, gaming, AI. This is a vertical we launched a year ago, and now you can find chatbot developers, mid-journey artists on the platform. And by the way, another thing that is interesting is that the whole world of digital services is moving so fast, and those things, those trends are happening on our platform before anything else. So we would know that something is becoming a trend before anyone else, because we'll see freelancers starting to create their own services, and we'll see the demand starting to rise, and we follow those search trends extremely closely, because the scale of the marketplace is so massive that this is a great reflection of whatever trends are happening around the world. So in terms of experience, we realized that we need to create a whole different experience for different categories, but still our strength is because we are horizontal and we can allow a business to enjoy 10 different categories, and he doesn't need to go to 10 different tools, right? Um, yeah.
So you walked into the next, so let me make sure I call out the key learning in that it's more than just a product, right? It's more than just tech, right? And the way you put it was talents on a pair of shoes. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. If and it's a quick little story, but so prior Fortune 100, I'll give you, actually, this will make it even easier. One of the 10 most valuable companies in the world. We invested well over $3 million to try to put experts into some of our products, thinking that if we just match them, then that's it. And we learned real quick the collaboration and the communication was so much more than simply, oh yeah, you need a designer in your PowerPoint. And so, we've both learned the hard way that, okay, you can't just leave it at the match, right? This requires something much more. But you hit on the trust element, and I just want to make sure I call out that when you mentioned it, you mentioned two things. It was businesses go back to the same freelancer. That is, I'll send you a report after this, but that was the number one thing that we found. And then the second thing is that, and this to me, this is my favorite one. You might trust someone that I might not, and vice versa. And I'll give a quick example of why. I'm living in the U.S. and we got 50 states, or oh god, I'm gonna sound really dumb now, Gali, 52 states, and we're all super super different. When I lived outside the country, people struggle to understand that, but freelance is no different, right? Everyone likes different things. So we just walked into sort of where I want to go next, which is, where do you see the world in the next 2 to 5 years? And there's a couple different ways. I'm actually really, really interested in where you're going to direct this. And so I'll give you a couple things. Like, it might be that, hey, we're going to be more focused on large companies over the next 2 to 5 years. It might be that, hey, we're going to integrate more with VMSs, MSPs, staffing the existing industry. It might be we're doubling down on AI. But what is really top of mind for where the world is going in our space for the next 2 to 5 years?
Right. So I think we can, first of all, before we talk about the future, I want to take, a second to talk about the past. And the past, when we talk about the past, you can't ignore almost 3 years, 2.5 of COVID, right? So COVID came into our life and changed everything we thought about working with talent online, working remotely. Think about what you used to call offline businesses that only had offline presence, and now realize that in order to adjust to this new world, they have to have online presence. They have to have some, digital footprint. So I think this, and it's just, I think what we've been trying to kind of preach for the last, 10 years, just happened overnight. We all found ourselves isolated in front of screens, and we realized that the world can continue operating because of tech, because of the internet. I think that's crucial, because that was a very important lesson from COVID. At the same time, I think people realize that there's no replacement to human interaction. I think, at the beginning, maybe the first few months, we all said, oh, that's fine. We can, I can live like this forever. And guess what? No, we can't. human needs human, and they need human interaction. And this is part of the fundamentals principles of humanity. We need each other. I think that's important. Why? Because that takes me to the next revolution, which is AI. And I think, one of the biggest fear is that AI will replace us all, right? And there will be no jobs needed because AI could do everything for us. And I don't know if you saw it, but we did a really, really nice out-of-home campaign a few months ago when we used huge billboards in New York, and we had AI freelancers on the billboard saying, AI took my job. There were real freelancers with their name, and then it changed and said to the next level. Because I think just like that, with AI as well, I don't think there's a replacement to human talent. I think what AI can do to human talent is to make us more efficient, faster, to elevate our abilities, to make us better. But I don't think it can replace human creativity, human touch, humor, uniqueness, and so on and so forth. So if you ask me, what will Fiverr look like in the next 2 to 5 years, and we talk about AI, I think Fiverr will be this destination for businesses and freelancers alike to offer those new jobs, new skills that are going to be created because of AI. We will also be a way where you can actually create this. I think there's a huge knowledge gap around AI. I see it with businesses. They come and say, hey, I need an AI integration for my business. I want to have a chatbot, but they don't know how to do it. They just hear about the hype. They have an idea, and then they want to make it come to life, especially small businesses, which is for Fiverr, it's our bread and butter. I think Fiverr can be this destination where we bridge this knowledge gap. And I'll tell you a true story. I heard about a business owner that came to one of our consultants. He was an AI consultant. He said, listen, I just heard a lecture by Sam Altman about the capabilities of AI. And I thought maybe I can do this for my business. What do you say? How can I use AI for my business? So this knowledge gap between the hype and what everybody hears and talk about on Twitter and the actual businesses that are there and they have, they're not that savvy. I think Fiverr can play a really significant role in helping them bridge this gap and enjoy those new amazing capabilities that AI can bring to our lives. I think Fiverr will definitely increase its penetration within bigger businesses and larger businesses. So originally Fiverr started from small businesses and micro entrepreneurs. And over the years, we've, gradually went into this or use this upmarket approach to penetrate bigger businesses, big organizations. A few years ago, we introduced Fiverr Pro, which is our offering that is unique and relevant to bigger businesses. We also acquired a company called Stoke Talent that is now called Fiverr Enterprise because we merged it into Fiverr, that is offering a platform to manage freelancers at scale in organization, from compliance to financing and invoices and all of that. So I think for Fiverr, in the next 3 years, you will see us more and more as an integral part in larger companies, helping them bridging the talent gap that they have, offering them specific talent, specific projects. So that's something we definitely want to keep on investing in. And beside that, Fiverr has been very strong globally as well. So we now offer the platform in 7 different languages. We're the largest and most known brand in countries like UK, Germany, France. And we will keep on this investment because we believe that there's huge potential out of the US as well. Europe is growing. The startup scene in countries like Germany and France is growing and evolving, and Fiverr should definitely expand its services to those countries as well.
I love the way you frame the AI knowledge gap. I think that's that's something where, let me give you a very tactical example of that, and this is pre-AI. So when I joined Microsoft, I'll be honest, I did not know how to use any of their tools. And so I was sitting in San Francisco, very typical, startup journey, sitting in a coffee shop in SF, loving the startup I was in. And Microsoft came calling and said, "Hey, want to help us build something in freelance?" And I said, "Hell no, because you're not Google." And back then, Microsoft was not as cool as it is now, right? And so when I joined, the thesis was, we have all these enterprises. We know they're interested in freelance, but we're struggling to adopt freelance at scale because of the compliance and the security and all the enterprise risks. So can you help us understand how we can have a product for this? The first thing I did was go and hire a bunch of different freelancers that were experts in Microsoft. And so they were experts in M365, experts in SharePoint, experts in Power BI. And literally it was like a university for me in terms of the first 4 weeks, just having them teach me and then having them also figure out ways we could leverage Microsoft tools for this problem statement. So AI is no different, right? It's if you're the CEO, if you're the CMO, the CPO, whatever you are, you need to increase your knowledge quickly. And there's no better way than having someone who can actually do that with you, right? It's much easier than going to a MOOC or I'm going to use a ridiculous example, Gali, but it's much easier than spending $10,000 over at the Harvard Extension School, right? You don't need to do that. You can just hire a freelancer, a couple freelancers, way more cost efficient, quicker, you name it. But so I want to give you some time then to talk about either big client wins or what you perceive as big client wins. And I do want to make sure I call out, though, because one of the things that you briefly mentioned is you guys and listeners, this is crucial. You've been ahead of the curve when it comes to product and also acquisitions. And so no one's been better at acquiring and putting their money where their mouth is. And also no one's been copied more, if I'm being honest, in terms of just scraping, right? Just scraping your user stories.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I mean, one of the jokes is you guys do it, see if it works, then others will copy. But that's called innovation, right? That's what
That's leadership, I guess, innovation and leadership.
It all comes from Xerox PARC, right? No one's really, the only real innovation was Xerox PARC. But so I would love for you to I just want to give you space to let's talk about big client wins. I'm not going to lie. I know you have a lot of enterprise emails. I have heard that there's a lot of enterprise emails that have used Fiverr, and not surprised. I bet you over 80% of Fortune 500s, there's an email with these guys.
So actually, this is exactly the figure. So 80% out of 50 of the top Fortune 500 companies have purchased on Fiverr. So definitely, and this is something that is clearly related to how known the brand is and how trusted it is. So that's for sure. And also, we had some really, really interesting deals with companies like Amazon Ads or Monday.com, if you know them, Stripe. What we did for those companies is really unique and interesting, and I want to spend some time talking about it, because what we did for them is that we build custom marketplaces for them. So, sometimes companies like Stripe or Amazon Ads, they need experts in order to use their own products. Now, when businesses come to Amazon Ads or to Stripe to use their solutions, they will need an expert to integrate the solution into their own offering. And what we created for them is a kind of specialized or custom marketplace with vetted experts. They were part of this vetting process, so they can send directly from their product whoever needs an integration of this service or this product to our own marketplaces, or those small marketplaces, I would call it, in order to integrate the Stripe solution to this business. So I think this model is super interesting. We call it Fiverr Certified, and we launched it a few months ago. And this is how we think about it. So think about companies like Google, right? So if you're a huge spender on Google, you will have clearly someone to manage your account, give you support, right? Do integrations for you of their tools. But if you are a small business, best case scenario, you get and contact us, email, and someone maybe sometime will, in the future will answer your needs or will answer your email. But most of the small, even medium businesses that don't have enough scale will not get support in bigger businesses, in bigger solutions, whether it's Google or Amazon or Meta. And we come into the picture there because we have experts that can help them integrate those solutions. And sometimes it's the interest of the company itself to provide those solutions in order for their products to be implemented. So that's a really, really interesting model. With Fiverr Pro, we are expanding our relationships with big companies like Unilever that is currently buying a lot of pro services on our marketplace for their marketing department, for their HR department, and more. And I think it's very clear that more and more enterprise businesses are using Fiverr. Our challenge is to make them use us for more categories, for long-term projects, for more complex projects, and this is what we'll keep on investing in, and because we have them already. The question is, how do we make sure that we can accommodate a wider range of their needs and not just specific needs?
Yep. Could we go deeper into the mark of you creating the custom marketplaces? The reason I want to do that is because the way that I'm describing it is it's an innovation of the Fortune 500 use case. And it's an innovation that is taking a product approach, not an existing industry approach. And so what I mean by that is it's about to be tax season, right? Here in the US, we got taxes coming up. And actually, my favorite use case of this is TurboTax Live. And so I think it was almost 5 years ago now that IKEA acquired TaskRabbit to do sort of last mile delivery, meaning, hey, we know you can't set up our furniture. Let's get you a freelancer to set it up.
Yeah.
But that's happening in every single business, especially platform software-based businesses,
Right.
Is that last mile, that integration, that deployment, you name it. Right. And so TurboTax Live is my favorite example of that because taxes, number one, people just want to feel like someone's on their shoulder. Right. And that's the reality of work is we all just want to feel like we have a trusted partner. And then the cynical look is we all want someone we can sue and we all want one neck to choke. Right. Like that's the cynical Fortune 500 is, listen, give me one neck to choke. And make sure there's enough indemnification that I can sue you if things go wrong. And when things go wrong, let's make sure my boss doesn't yell at me and says that, oh, anyone would have hired them, right? Yeah. Like that's kind of the reality of work versus the future of work. Yeah. But TurboTax Live, it is such a perfect application of the freelance economy. And it also takes away a lot of the difficulty because from the enterprise side, the toughest part is evangelizing a freelance program across the company. There's no chief freelance officer in companies right now. It's really tough to understand as freelance, the gig economy, is it different than an Uber driver, right? So there's all these hurdles, but then you come in and you say, hey, you have an existing use case. It's pretty easy to understand. It directly ties up to revenue because if you don't do this, you're missing revenue.
Exactly.
And we can do it for you. So I just want to give you more space to, and mostly you listeners, I want to just bop you over the head and say, hey, here's your use case.
Yeah. So you mentioned two different challenges, and I want to focus on them for a second. The first challenge is internal, right? Which is internal talent gap. I have a project that I need to fulfill. I don't have the right talent internally. It will take me 3 months, 6 months to hire someone, to train him, right? How do I do this process as quickly and smoothly as it can be? And companies are not equipped and are not ready for that. You mentioned not having a chief freelancer officer, compliance issues, all this thing about how much should he know about the company, how much can I expose.
Legally no, right? Legally no.
Legally know about the company, access to systems, goes on and on and on, right? So that's one, and I think this is a muscle that, especially in this flexible world of hiring talent, where talent is global and talent can work from everywhere, we need to do this, to create this muscle internally in companies. Stoke or Fiverr Enterprise now is part of this solution, to have a system that can manage freelancers at scale, to have access to the right talent. I think that's now challenge number one. Challenge number two is what happens if you need experts to get more value out of your own business, because the business model is that you are offering SaaS solutions, but you need a trusted partner to help you integrate this SaaS solution into your business, right? Now, again, it's not the same challenge for every customer, because top tier customers, the ones that will spend $100,000 a year, will get their trusted partner, right? There will be customer success manager. There will be this guy who will do the integration development. I'm not worried about them. I think what happens in reality is that there are specific segments, usually small to mid-sized businesses, that still need your solution, your SaaS solution, but they have no one to talk to, right? And this is where you need experts, external experts, to be added to your business in order to integrate your solution, in order to make more money and to get to more segments. But freelancers and experts is not it's not part of your business model. You don't know how to do that. How do you vet talent? How do you work with them? How do you set expectations? I mean, it's a headache. And I think this is where Fiverr comes into the picture, with our ability to use all this knowledge, all this experience, product capabilities, data, first of all, to find the right talent for this specific task, to create the right product for you, so it will be an easy experience and simple as Fiverr is. And I think the last mile is to integrate it into the product journey on this company. So in the right place, because that's also important. Because if someone sign in to your service and then he needs to go somewhere else and starting this process all over again, it's very inefficient, and it could be something that adds a lot of friction. But if a minute after he bought the service, or before he buys the service in a SaaS model on your platform, you offer him experience that is embedded in your product, where he can find the right expert in a minute to integrate the solution, that's a win-win for us, for the freelancer, for the business, for the small business, and for the SaaS company. So it's really to be at the right place at the right time with the right talent.
So if I had you, Gali, so I'm coming up on my time, unfortunately. And so if I had you for another hour, we would dive into the research of Stanford and Flash teams, which was around 2012, 2013, 2014, right? And what I love about technology is it usually comes out of a university, or it comes out of a bunch of fringe use cases that don't seem relevant, right? And when we look at Stanford and Flash teams, what we're seeing is the power of embedded experts and embedded freelancers. And to your point in the beginning, right, automating everything that's not the work, getting rid of the bureaucracy, getting rid of the crap, and just saying who's the right person working on the right thing. And so, that'll be next time. That'll be next time. I'm gonna beg to steal you for an hour, But I think, and what's interesting is, it was only 2012 that Stanford was showing the research on Flash teams, right? And so if we look at other technological trends, it took way more than 10 years, 10 plus years to actually realize the technology. So we're actually sitting better. I know at times, as someone in the industry, it feels slow. You want to bang your head against the wall and say, come on, hurry up. Where's this enterprise adoption, right? Where's this actual tech? So I want to give you 2 to 3 minutes, and I just want to give you the floor. And literally, you can say whatever you want. You can talk about your dog. You can talk about your whatever you want. You can talk about where you really want to see the space going, where you think it should be going, what you think's the biggest thing in the way. But I'm just so appreciative of your time, and I want to give you 2 to 3 minutes to just literally. The podcast is now officially yours,
Yeah.
and floor is yours.
Okay. I would love to talk about my dog. By the way, her name is Luna. She's
Oh, it's
8 years old and
beautiful.
she's fantastic. But yeah, you know what? Let's talk about human talent. I'll use this 2, 3 minutes to talk about how much I believe in human talent. I think in a time where we all are so fascinated and amazed by the capabilities of AI and generative AI, and every day there's a new tool, and the images we see are amazing, and they're created in milliseconds, and the ability to create videos and voiceovers and translations is absolutely it's absolutely amazing. I feel like that if this is going to be eventually the world we live in, it's going to be a world that is going to be a bit gray, if you know what I mean. It's going to be a bit generic. And I think over the years, and I learned it, I've been so many years in tech, and I think what tech is capable to do to take us to the next level as human beings is tremendous. But this human spark, this creativity, and I also come from marketing, so I spent years in advertising and marketing, and I saw the best minds thinking about our creatives and about our campaigns. There's something in the human mind that could never be replaced by technology, I believe. And yeah, and I think it takes me a bit to COVID, just like we learned that there's no replacement to human interactions, there is no replacement to human talent. This is what I truly, truly believe in. And by the way, there's also no replacement to relationships. I think we all need other human beings to interact with, to grow, to feel content, to feel satisfied, to feel fulfilled, to feel like someone sees us and care about us. And this is why, for me, Fiverr, more than anything else, is this symbol of human talent, right? Is this ambassador of human talent in the world. And I believe the more it's diverse, the more it's global, the more you see people from different countries, from different life circumstances, the more rich and interesting it becomes. So yeah.
That was incredible. I'm gonna add on top. I'm gonna say that that a lot of techies believed the future was in zeros and ones, and on top of that, they believed they could abstract it to the future as search and automation. But to your point, it's going to be really, really boring. Exactly. And so as long as people, so I'll tell you what, I was in New York last week. As long as people dress as weird as they do in New York, then boy, are we going to need humans. so and every time I come back, I go, it's getting weirder. The outfits are getting weirder.
So either I'm getting old, which is the case, or New York is getting weirder, and I'm sure it's a bit of both, right? So yeah, but I love New York.
Oh man,
I love how people, dress there. By the way, Berlin as well, not only New York. So I don't know if you visited Berlin.
I'll be there in May. I'll make sure to look out. I'll take pictures for you.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, Gali, this was incredible. Most importantly, where can our listeners find you and where do you want them to go? And what are, say, like 1 to 3 things you want them to go check out immediately that Fiverr's done?
That Fiverr is done. First of all, we have a huge product release. It's tomorrow. No, on the 1st of February, Wednesday.
You don't look tired enough, Gali. Product releases this week, and
Yeah,
come on, where are the bags?
it's a winter product release, and there's huge amount of things that we're gonna release, and I'm super excited about that. So we have a new vertical for consultation. That's huge, and those are services that are now available on the platform in different domains like data, e-commerce, legal consulting, accounting, even career mentorship, or advice. So really, really interesting. That's a new vertical that we're offering. We have a new whole offering for agencies. So now agencies can join our platform and enjoy a complete different offering. So that's big news. We have a revamped, new and updated level review and rating system that will make the marketplace clearer for businesses on one hand, and for freelancers will provide data, and that will make their path to success easier. So we'll now provide much more data and transparency, so freelancers can learn how to be better on the platform. So that's something we're really proud of. We are launching a completely new home experience, which will be the personal homepage of each business on the platform, combined with Neo, our AI assistant that we launched a few months ago, serving as a kind of co-pilot in this new experience. So I think there's a lot of new, really exciting things that we're releasing. For Fiverr Pro, we are releasing a new briefing capability that will be based on AI. So there's a lot of exciting stuff in this release. So I would recommend to everyone to check it out. You can find it on our site or in our social platforms. Just check Fiverr on any social platform that exists. And yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, I guess, right?
I love how you wait to the end to just drop that mic drop of, hey, heads up, just we got like 8 new product releases.
Yeah,
and each product release is
we didn't have time to talk about it. That would just
I mean, each on its own is fundamentally disruptive and transformative. We're not talking about 1.1 or 1.1 to 1.2. We're talking a whole new category. So
it's an amazing release full of amazing new things, and I'm really, really proud of it.
Incredible. Well, Gali, thank you so much for hopping on. And I'm going to try to steal your time again, because boy, do we have more to talk about. But thank you so much for hopping on.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure.